But we meet today pursuant to notice to mark up 7 bipartisan measures. As your offices were previously notified, it is the intent of the chair to consider today's measures en bloc. And so without objection, the following items, which were provided to members earlier this week, are in your packets, are considered as read and will be considered en bloc. House Resolution 185, calling on the government of Iran to fulfill repeated promises of assistance in the case of Robert Levinson, the longest-held United States civilian in our nation's history. House Resolution 218, recognizing the importance of the United States-Israel economic relationship and encouraging new areas of cooperation. Ross-Layton amendment in the nature of a substitute to House Resolution 218. House Resolution 274, condemning the government of Iran's state-sponsored persecution of its Baha'i minority and its continued violation of the International Covenants on Human Rights. Ross-Layton and Amendment 28 to House Resolution 274. House Resolution 317, calling for the unconditional release of United States citizens and legal permanent resident aliens being held for political purposes by the government of Iran. Ross-Layton amendment in the nature of a substitute to House Resolution 317. After my remarks and the ranking member's remarks on these measures, I'll be glad to recognize any other members seeking recognition. Without objection, all members may have 5 days to submit statements for the record on today's business. And we do so in tandem with my resolution, House Resolution 317, which calls upon Iran to release unconditionally all U.S. citizens, U.S. legal permanent resident aliens, and foreign nationals that the regime has unjustly detained and is holding hostage. The regime has imprisoned U.S. legal resident Nizar Zakka and sentenced him to 10 years under false charges. Mr. Zakka announced this week that he has begun a hunger strike. This subcommittee has received an audio of Mr. Zakka where he states, quote, "I am innocent, never done any crime in my life," end quote. I would like to ask unanimous consent to insert into the record a transcript of the transcribed telephone conversation of Mr. Zakka from Evin Prison in Iran. So I urge my colleagues to support all of these measures, and the chair now recognizes the ranking member, Mr. Deutsch, for his statement.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would like to express my support for all of these measures before us today. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of each of them, and I thank the chairman for moving this bipartisan slate of bills. House Resolution 317 calls for the immediate release of all Americans held in Iran. For too long, this regime has taken American and other foreign nationals prisoners on trumped-up charges, resulting in sham trials and outrageous sentences. There is no rule of law. There is no due process. This is nothing more than hostage-taking, and it must stop. This committee has a long history of speaking out against these unjust detentions, and we will not sit idly by while Americans languish in Iranian jails. Madam Chairman, you have been a heroic ally with me in this effort. I thank you for being my partner. I thank you for bringing forward all of these bipartisan measures today and for continuing to conduct this committee in such a strong bipartisan manner. And I yield back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deutsch.